Hey, I'm Ryan from Solstice Guitars. Welcome to Wood of the Week.
Wood of the Week.
Welcome to Wood of the Week. This is a new series where we talk about different species of woods that we use here at Solstice to make our guitars. We're going to be talking about woods that we use on the insides, the outsides, all of the sides of the guitars. Today we're talking about Diaspyros crassiflora, also known as Ebony. Ebony. All right, there's a lot to say about ebony. First of all, it comes from a couple of different places. There's two different types of ebony that we typically see in the market, and that's Indian ebony and the Western African ebony that they refer to as Gabon. I think it's Gabon ebony. There's a wood mill out of Cameroon, Africa, that is central to the supply of ebony for guitar builders, and we're going to get into that. Today we're going to be mostly talking about the African varieties of ebony. That's what we primarily use here at Solstice, and that's what most guitar builders use as well. The consistency of the African ebony is just much nicer to use for guitar making. Why do we use ebony? Most guitarists know that we use it because it's so dense and rigid. It's strong. You can even bend ebony if you treat it right and if you shape it and thin it right. You can't mark it up very easily with your fingers, so we use it on fingerboards a lot, and we use it as a bridge due to its strength and its density. You'll see ebony fingerboards on acoustic and electric guitars. It makes for a great decorative wood for inlays, for head caps, for end grafts, for all sorts of different small appointments and details on guitars. Why do we use ebony? Here's an example. I'm gonna just drop and listen to that. So the properties of ebony are great and they're amazing for building guitars, but the story of ebony I think is much more interesting. It all comes down to a man you may have heard of, Bob Taylor. Bob Taylor knew that there were issues with the ebony supply for the guitar industry, and he went to Africa, he went to Cameroon, and he looked into buying a wood mill there that was supplying and milling ebony. What he found in Cameroon was disheartening and explained why the supply for ebony was dwindling and why the supply seemed to be more and more limited. Because the market values such dark black pieces of ebony, he discovered that something like 70 to 80% of the trees that were being cut down in the forest were just being left to rot and die, because when they cut the trees they could see that they weren't a perfect black coloration. And ebony has variations in it just like any tree does. It has grain lines and different colorations, and you'll see some striped kind of brown ebony that has almost like a marbled or a stripe. They call it variegated ebony, and it's just as strong, it's just as dense, it's just as rigid and quality of wood as the regular black super fine ebony that was popular. Everybody wanted black ebony, and the guys who were supplying trees to the mill knew that, and so they would leave trees in the forest and only bring to the mill the darkest, blackest trees that they would find. So Bob Taylor went on a mission. Hey, what's up, kitty? This is my ebony cat. What's up, ebony cat? Bob Taylor went on a mission to change the perspective of the industry, to get people and customers and also builders and manufacturers to understand that so much wood was being wasted and that you could build fine guitars with ebony fingerboards that have variegations and streaks, and it's just as quality of wood, you're building just as quality of guitar. Bob Taylor ended up buying the mill in Cameroon, changing the whole supply paradigm, and also changing the paradigm of the market and of customers and of guitar builders and manufacturers. I understand that he went to all the big builders. He went to Gibson, he went to Martin, he went to Santa Cruz and Collings, and started having a conversation about how we should all be using all the good ebony that we can find. We should all be using the variegated, the black, and you can differentiate your prices, but it's all good wood and we should be using it. I have plenty of customers now who want variegated striped ebony. Here's an example of a beautiful piece of variegated ebony. This is a little much. This is almost like a zebra ebony. So what we now find is ebony seems to be more and more plentiful. You can find black ebony, you can find all sorts of ebony. It is more in supply thanks to Bob Taylor and thanks to the industry making these changes and adjustments in perspective only. It's not like we've changed our standards in terms of the quality of wood that we want or the rigidity, thus the quality of the guitars that we're building has not changed, just the understanding that there are variables in wood that change the way it looks. People understand this for basically every species of wood except for ebony until recently. So we'll say thanks to Bob Taylor. He's done amazing work with the supply of ebony and the sustainability of this species. And it's an amazing wood. All right, thanks for watching Wood of the Week. That's it for Ebony here. Next week, we're going to be talking about a type of cedar that's actually a cypress. In fact, that's actually most of them. Until next time, leave me a comment below. Let me know what kind of woods you might want to hear about. And thanks for watching.